The seasonal weather shift is on, and I think we've got some really strong storms ahead, especially in the next couple of days through the coming week. We're going to talk about what's driving that, why I think we're starting to see that come back, plus what you can expect. This is a quick look at the upper level chart. We are looking straight down on North Pole. I do like to look at it this way. It kind of gives you an idea of what's going on globally and what's going to be impacting us. And this trough off the West Coast, I think, is going to be our next severe weather maker that could be a little more south and a little more east as we head into next week. Generally speaking, here in the south and in the deep south, you've got what we call barotropic conditions. That's when there's a very little change in temperatures horizontally in the atmosphere. This is very common in the summer, and that's what we're seeing right now. Very weak jet stream, severe weather, not a huge problem because you just don't have these upper level winds that you have further to the north where baroclinic conditions exist. There's your weather words of the day. And it's in this barotropic environment that systems become vertically stacked. That's why you have tropical storms. Barotropic, Tropic. So a little meteorology there for you. And I'm telling you, I think this pattern is going to persist. However, we're going to have these weak impulses that swing through, and that's going to continue to bring us some severe weather over the next couple of days. Taking this out into next week, there it comes, that energy into the west. And as this moves east, I think you watch it for some severe weather Tuesday, maybe even into Wednesday in areas that, places we've been a little bit quiet as of lately compared to what we've seen so far this late spring. It's meteorological summer, but it still is officially spring. All right, this is where the severe weather is going to be on Saturday. We're looking from Montana all the way down into Texas along the Front Range and then out into the plains. The primary threat will be damaging winds, hail, and there could be a few tornadoes in these areas as well. That hail could be intense into parts of Montana, Wyoming, even into the Dakotas, down into parts of Nebraska with some large hail possible that could be damaging. And heading into Sunday, our threat area really still remaining pretty much stationary across Montana, down into Nebraska, all the way down to Texas, and there could be even some strong storms into parts of Virginia and North Carolina. And long range, how about this? The day 4 outlook, this would take you through Monday as that next system moves east. So Nebraska, parts of South Dakota into Minnesota, Iowa, watch out. You have a threat of severe weather. And then that continues as we head into Tuesday, a little bit further to the south, now down into Nebraska and Kansas. And this may be a multi-day severe weather event, and this could expand. So as this system moves east, we're going to watch out from Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, all the way over as far east as Illinois, maybe even Indiana, down into Missouri. So that's the time period heading into next week. Surface map showing our stall boundary here. And that's not going to go anywhere at the surface over the next couple of days. This actually is a baroclinic zone. And it's sort of a battleground, if you will, for the weather over the next couple of days. And then once we move into, say, Tuesday and Wednesday, as this front drives east, it will be the instigator for storms. Again, all driven by what's going on in the upper levels, that trough that will start to swing through as we head toward Tuesday and into Wednesday of next week. Let's talk about the short term, though, because there are some severe storms in the forecast for Saturday. Now, we're seeing the storms through Friday night, but Saturday, watch out into parts of Montana, down into Wyoming. Some of these could get big also along the Front Range into Colorado and push out into the plains into Nebraska as we head into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and Saturday night. And we may end up with a storm complex moving further to the east and south into parts of Kansas as we head into Saturday night, maybe into Sunday. The 3K NAM is trying to show that piece of energy interacting with a pretty warm and unstable air mass as we head into early Sunday morning. Does that happen across Oklahoma? Well, the 3K NAM tries to say it does. That could bring some heavy rain, gusty winds, maybe some severe weather. Certainly not a major severe weather outbreak, and that dives south into Texas. So we could be looking at a prolonged complex of storms, and then maybe another one further to the north heading into the day Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and then our next system pushes east with more severe weather, now moving into the Dakotas, back into Montana too. There's a look at your temperatures as we move through Saturday morning, starting kind of muggy, especially the further south you go. Where we see showers will clearly be rain cool. Timing that out will be difficult, but you get the idea. The only relief will be the rain, with temperatures climbing well into the 90s across Kansas, Oklahoma, and into Texas, and even further north into Nebraska. We're baking up here too, close to 90 as far north as southern parts of South Dakota. Let's go a little bit further to the east. We're quite wet around the Great Lakes, from Ohio into Pennsylvania, New York, with light rain showers, moderate at times. There could be a few heavy downpours and a few of the heavier showers. And then we're also seeing some showers work their way across Tennessee as we move through Saturday morning as this weak piece of energy swings through the Tennessee Valley. Some of these, I think you watch them heading into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening in this sector with afternoon heating, A little bit of wind shear too, so some of these could pulse up and get strong. And there could be some really heavy rain into parts of eastern Virginia. You've got one round there, and then as that low moves east, some of these could get really strong, I think, on Sunday. The Storm Prediction Center watching this, I think you watch this area Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, not just for severe weather, but you're also going to be dealing with quite a bit of rain. Some areas could see 2, 3, 4 inches of rain, maybe even more in some of the thunderstorms, and that could produce some flooding. Here's a look at your temperatures on Saturday. Again, cooled wherever we have the rain. Seasonably cool, but it is below average across northern parts of Wisconsin. Temperatures barely getting out of the 40s and 50s here, especially up into parts of the UP. If we can get into some of the sun, we may get into the 60s, the lower peninsula back into the 70s, and into the northeast. We're chilly here too with the clouds and the rain, just kind of damp. Temperatures do warm up some, though, as we head into Sunday. We're back into the 70s, at least here, and it stays hot and muggy across the south. With Florida baking, the only relief would be those afternoon storms, especially across the Sunshine State, where we get the sea breeze interacting with that lower level flow. All right, across the west, dry and hot, except for the northern Rockies, where we have those impulses that will continue to move through. The far southwest, temperatures baking here from California down into Phoenix, Arizona, all of New Mexico, hot, triple digits, 107, 110 may be possible. Even into the Central Valley will be in the mid-90s, maybe close to 100 here. Not as hot across the Pacific Northwest. Parts of Washington and Oregon, where we were recently, just in the 90s, 80s anyway, we're back into the 70s and 80s. And then if you look long range, if you take the GFS, we're going to really widen this out now and take a look at North America and take it over the next several days. This is Tuesday. There comes the weather patterns change with the severe weather possible here across the plains into parts of the Great Lakes and the Midwest, especially the upper Midwest. That moves east, low pressure moving towards the Canadian Maritimes. And then in the upper levels, we stay hot out west. I mean, this right here looks like a ridge in the west, bit of a trough in the east. And overall, though, one thing that we're not seeing, thankfully yet, and if you watched the channel a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you guys the GFS does some goofy stuff. If you were to believe it, we'd be looking at we would be seeing a major landfalling hurricane right now, but we're not. It's one of the reasons you can't take these models long range and look at a hurricane and go, we're going to get one. So there's your temperament. So temper things back just a little bit. I'll be on top of it, watching things throughout the summer. So if you're new, I hope you'll consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.